So the story of the Friar Flannel, where did it come from? Why are you seeing it today? I want to tell you the full story. So a year ago, my wife and I are at Bayfest in San Diego, and I explained to her before we were going there, the difference between Orange County, San Diego, whatnot, and how people in San Diego are very prideful for where they live. A lot of people really enjoy and love that. And if you've ever noticed on a map, San Diego's not really on the way to anywhere. It's a very intentional place to go to. You're not just really passing through, right? It's a very beautiful place and everything. They take the baseball very seriously. And it started making me think when I was seeing all these, brown and yellow Padres hats. I was like, man, we really need to make a flannel like that really just goes with that perfect when it has this old school blend, and have these nice button snaps that really seal the deal. It really, I think, encompasses the culture that is San Diego, right? Now you fast forward to this Sunday, and my wife and I are sitting at church at Echoes Church in Mesa, and which is an incredible church, and it's led by our pastor Daniel Golding, who was in our wedding and is a large part of our life. He's a mentor. Luckily I could call him a friend. Blessed to be able to call him a mentor. Amazing human being, right? Happens to be also a huge Padres fan. So we're at church and we're going through the musical worship. Now, after this particular service, I went onto my social media and I talked about how it impacted me. And I will tell you this right now, that I tell my staff this all the time, who you pray to, who you vote for, who you sleep with, whatever. It's none of my business. Because as a brand, those are not things that we really, project outwardly. We tend to speak to, when I say the masses, I talk about people from all walks of life, race, sex, religion. Those are all the things that make us unique and beautiful, right? And that's the same thing in this brand. Our staff is very much so like that. So when I push this message, it's not to push anything on you, but more so to tell the story about what makes this very special and very unique. And so after that worship, I went back to my social media and I talked about how lately diving deeper into my faith, and during this musical worship that I close my eyes listening to this, and the energy inside this room is incredible, and I see the most perfect and most gorgeous picture of Jesus in my head. The most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. What I described it as was he's standing there feeling like I was the only person in the room, and I feel these rays of sunshine going down. It's a peace that is so much more than the peace that I tried to find from meditation for so many years of my life, right? And I talked about that, and it was important to, talk about, the differences that my life goes into, the peaks and valleys and the different things that I find, right? And that's what I use my social media for a lot, and being brutally honest in it. And on that specific day, I shared that, and I noticed later on in the day, I saw, someone started following me, and Shonda Wallace. I clicked on her page. I happened to see this clip of her singing for our church, and I said to my wife, I was like, that's the lady that that sings at our church. It was amazing. We just saw her this morning. Now, again, remember that I am, I'm alluding to the fact of that service that did so much for me, right, during that musical worship. And as I clicked on this thing, I started reading her story, and it made me remember that, right before our wedding, our pastor telling me that, he had a really good friend that just got, diagnosed and basically told he has 3 months to live. He's on borrowed time. I mean, speaking truthfully, that was 4 months ago. And that happens to be her husband. I look at a picture of him, and when I see this picture, I would immediately recognize him. That was the guy playing bass this morning at worship. So come to find out, these are amazing parents of 4 beautiful children. These are people that serve their time to the community tirelessly, and coming to know that at this point in their life, he goes through these treatments that make him so weak, and it's a very rare form of cancer that he has, and he's building up his strength, trying alternative methods to get there, and then they find a treatment that could possibly extend his life, save his life, because he's one of the only people that have had this rare form of cancer that they start seeing it shrinking, and and hopefully going into remission at some point. For them to continue this treatment is an asinine amount of money, like $75,000-$80,000, and it's happening abruptly, as right now he's living beyond what they told him that he had to live. It came to me that the portion of that they needed, that they waited on, that we could make a difference immediately and release something that we would be able to put the proceeds towards. And the reason why it really struck me, and it called me to action, was I was thinking about the fact that this person is giving a certain amount of time to live and chooses, when he's basically a walking miracle right now, and he chooses to give his time to us, chooses to give his time on stage. There is worship that is changing lives, both figuratively and absolutely, physically, mentally, spiritually, in so many different ways, and I know that I'm not the only one there, and I could speak for many of that, that are going through the same. And he chooses with that time to give back to us. How is it, and how can I be called to action to be able to share my calling is sort of what can I do right now to help this? And immediately I look into all these flannels that we have coming in, and I'm looking through them, and they're all designated different places that I can't really do much with, or they're already designated to special places as far as collaborations, different bands, whatnot. There's nothing like that I can't take those and turn this into this. There's one, and it was the Friar Flannel. And I looked at it, and I laughed actually when I saw it, because it was the one, San Diego, the colors of our pastor's beloved Padres baseball team. So I immediately sent him some pictures and explained a little bit about, I said, hey, I'm going to send you these pictures. I want to call you and tell you what I'm thinking. And I told him, I'm sorry for the kind of the dark imagery that's on the tag, And one of the things he said to me was, he said, you know what? He's like, the imagery on the tag is perfect. He's like, our man is a walking miracle right now. He's cheating death. The way all these things work out, a lot of people, I'm fine with you thinking that, that the way of the universe is great, and no matter what you believe, there is, definitely something that brings us all together, right? And this is one of those moments. And this was one of those moments where we could take what we can do to make sure that this man might have a chance at getting to see the next birthdays of those beautiful children. And we might be able to do something that helps. I immediately called my team. We rallied together, and this is something that we are very passionate about. And me reminding them that what they do every day gives back. We do charitable things every month. We do this stuff all the time, and it's what keeps us going. And this one, it just hit me like a ton of bricks, man. And it was something that I knew that this was the purpose in it. This was my calling in this right now, to be able to make this difference. And grabbed them all. We turned our week upside down, got rid of the schedule, said, hey, this thing that was slotted for the end of baseball season, we need to make happen right now. This person needs our help right now. So by the end of this week, we can get the proceeds and get them to him. He can get the help that he needs and that he deserves, and so much more, And so I want to use this time and this release to also challenge you to look at yourself and ask, what would you do with that time? What would you do differently? How would you look at the world differently? How would you look at other people differently? How would you cherish the people around you, your family, your friends? I'm blessed that I have coworkers that that are my family. I have coworkers that they inspire me endlessly, and this is one of those punch in the gut kind of moments where you kind of have two options. You either say, hey, that's really sad, and you ignore the signs, or you do a call to action. And the best and most beautiful part about it is, we get to do this, and we get to do what we love, we get to make a difference in doing it, and hopefully we, get to hopefully do what we're being called to do. And at the same time, it also echoes out to so many, and reminding us, how beautiful this life is, how beautiful this time is. It reminds us to be grateful, to offer, to operate out of gratefulness, to smile at every day, smile at every challenge, and take it on, and to trust and know that there is a plan that is bigger than us. And I am grateful for this moment to be able to do so. and I cannot thank you enough for being a part of it. Every single one of you watching this, every single one of you that buys this ship, you are all part of this, and the Wallace family needs you right now. And I am honored to do it with you guys. Thank you so very much for everything that you do that makes this brand what it is. I know that every single one of my employees, and I call them my coworkers, really, we are honored to be here, to be able to do so. And what a beautiful moment, and right here, right now, making this difference happen. Let's do this. Thank you, guys.